A walk with. Water levels, wallabies and the curious gateposts of the Curraugh with John Dog Callister.
Lovely and quiet this morning, no traffic to be heard for miles. Glorious morning, in fact, a typical beautiful Manx winter's morning. You can tell it's winter because there's snow on the ground. Yeah, you can hear it. Look at that, and you'll recognise that voice with me today. It's John Dog, and we're out at one of his favourite stomping grounds. Well, I think he has quite a few, really, and that's out on the Curraugh. And coming down, and we're just strolling down one of the tracks. And what are we paddling off to have a look at today, John?
I suppose it's a long story. When I started with the museum, I helped create the pathways we've got out in the museum with my predecessor, who, when I worked at the museum, his name was Jonathan Fairhurst, and it was him and I that had the idea. He was in situ at the museum, so we had lots of people help us. John Neal and Shirley Neal from out close Taggart in the Curraugh, they helped, and we created the boarded walks that are there now that people use regularly. Anyway, Jonathan created a method, apparently not very scientific, we were told, but they created a method of measuring the height of water in Black Curraugh, in the fields, in the meadows, and so on. And also there was a board in the trench, Caine Trench as it is, or as it was. It doesn't actually go out to the Caine now. It's been redirected out behind Close Taggart and actually goes out into the lane. But it was the Caine Trench, and there was a board there with depths on, and I suppose arguably it isn't very scientific, but after a prolonged drought, you would see that it would be at a certain level on the board, and then you get some rain and it would move up and down, and people were interested, and I was taking records. Anyway, when I left, my predecessor took all the equipment out they were using for measuring, and including the board. So a number of people rang me, what happened to the board, what happened to the board? And I've been going to get round to do it. So recently I decided, and I got a board. Science Sense made me the board, and I got a big stob, and thanks to Haldane Fisher, they provided the big stob. Now we're just getting taught, you see, that's only looks about 6 foot high. There's 12 foot of that, so there's a good 6 foot down into the stream, knocked down, and I've screwed the board on, and it now gives you the depth of the river, the trench, the stream, at any particular time. You come for a walk along here, you can say, oh, it's a bit higher today, or come along and it's a bit lower, and then in the summertime you come along and it's down round about it's in metres, but and it goes against the grain a bit, but it was in metres before.
I was going to say, yeah,
yes,
metres. I was
definitely
quite
goes against the grain, but that's what was before, and I'm very old-fashioned, so it was metres before. I better do metres again. And I, as a joiner, I work in millimetres, and when I put it in, it was about 400 millimetres or 40 centimetres. Centimetres is a dress size, so we don't use centimetres, but it was about 400 millimetres. Now it's about 410, so that with last night's rain and snow, it has lifted a bit. But it's just something that I wanted to do and put back in place, just so the people that walk around here regularly can look at it and say, oh, look, the river's up a bit, or it's down a bit, and so on. Not far away from this, we can see a wonderful slate slab.
So let's go and have a take a look.
Yeah.
Just over on one side here. So that's just over on this.
There's a board walk across.
Board walk here.
All these bridges across the trench are old slate bridges. The Isle of Man was never had a lot of timber, so all the gate pillars are slate, as we're standing alongside one, and these bridges would be slate, and you think this must be 10 or 12 foot long, a bit of slate to go across there.
Easily.
there used to be a hole in the middle there, and it was a bit dodgy sometimes. You go across and you put your foot down. So Larch Garrett, in her, when she was at the museum, I did some work in this field, some clearing of Sally's and all, and it was her who created this boarded walk over the top, because my original walks used to be starting at sort of this point and going across that meadow straight ahead of us, and it's been cleared. It's now grown back. It wants a coat of looking at, but anyway, we'll see what we can do over that. But
you were saying Sally's as well. Sally's what, that young saplings or
willows. Sally is the you know, the I suppose the Manx name for willows. Salix, I think, is the Latin. That's maybe where they come from. So I've always grown up calling them Sallies. The Sallies and birches. We can see one or two birches there, silver birches. But this kind of pillar here. It was obviously a gate pillar, and there's a bridge across, and there must have been a gate. Now, I've seen in the museum, and I've got a copy of it somewhere, and I it's like everything else, you put it down so when you lose it. I've got a picture taken in the early 1900s, and because of the peculiar shape of this slab, you can see it's exactly the same slab, and there's another one sort of where we are standing behind us in the picture. The roadway, which it sounds very rude, but the Manx name for it is the Bollock Road. The Manx means a road from a marshland going up into the hills, but that's the proper name for it. And this was the road that come right down through where the wildlife park is now, and come down through. And it was blocked off when they did the wildlife park in 1965. This roadway is sort of in the picture, and you can see, excuse me, you can see track marks in it. And in the corner up there, there's a gate. But the interesting thing is, no trees.
Yeah.
There's no trees about. You can see all the hills behind. Where we're standing now, you can't see the hills for trees, for Sallies, as I was calling them.
I'm just fascinated. It looks like there's been an enormous gate here as well at one stage.
Yeah, there's a gudgeon here, you know, a pin for the gate. So it's, you know, in its day there'll be a gate on. It's going out into a meadow. In the corner here, I was saying, in the picture taken in the early 1900s, there's a gate there, and I know for a fact over there's like a bit of a hedge, but I'm sure that's a roadway going out, and there's probably other meadows off that. And I'm interested in slates, and I can take you around the Curraugh and show you loads of other gate pillars and slates that are in odd positions. You think, why is that piece of slate there?
It's actually sitting there.
Yeah, there is one particular gate pillar out there that I take people to when I'm going on a walk sometimes, and it's much taller than me. I'm not quite 6 foot, but it's much taller than me, and the gudgeon is up at eye level. So most people just imagine if you're standing there, the gudgeon is about, you know, belly button level approximately for a normal gate. Well, this thing is up at eye level, so it must have been a mighty gate on that. And alongside it, there's slates that have been put in the ground, stood up to form like a barrier. So you've got a huge gate and these slates, but these things are only standing about 4 foot high. So why the gate is like 6 foot, 7 foot high, I don't know, but I often say maybe it was a statement, you know, see my gate.
Oh, absolutely,
you know,
yeah. Bigger than the Joneses.
I made a song, okay, look at that one. You know, there is on that stone too, JLC 1921, you know, scratched. So I don't know who it was, but there was a man out here called John Leslie Caine, I think his name was. Oh, I can't remember now. Anyway,
that sounds like a good Manx name.
Yes, yeah. So it could have been him that was out here. You know, his initials are on there.
Right, we'll stroll on down a little bit and see what we can see.
See the trench is.
There we go. You see.
Across another slate bridge here, you see. Yes, sir.
Oh, you can see this slate there. This is a much smaller one.
That's running from there. That's 3, 6, probably 12
feet.
12 foot to get a good base, and maybe a bit longer to get a good base on either side. I believe one of the best places from this to get these was Spanish Head.
Yep.
Spanish Head.
They've come a fair way then.
Yes, they have come a fair way. And the principle was they would lower them down the cliff into a boat. They'd bring them round to the nearest coastline.
Yeah.
Throw them over the side at high tide. And then when the tide went out, they would go down with a horse and cart and pick them up, you see. That's how they That's how they would get the stuff transported. And they do the same with the lime, for the lime kilns.
Yep.
It would be brought round and kicked over the side and then picked up. I heard too that when they built Laxey Wheel, a lot of the stuff, the same thing happened there. There was an Alf Valler told us a story about Laxey Wheel one time. There was about 100 men on a big rope and they were all pulling. And this fella, Alan Gill from Kirkmichael, said they were all pulling and the rope snapped. And they all fell over bar one man, he said, and they sacked that man, he said. They sacked him. And I said, they sacked him, yes, he couldn't have been pulling, he said. So, but that was the system. Just kick it over the side at high tide and then just come down with a horse and cart and pick it up. But a big long slate, 12 foot long, it must have took some hauling, mustn't it?
Yeah, you're not kidding. Yeah,
and there's quite a few bridges out here, so... But it must have been important in its day for them to be prepared to, just put the time and effort in to do that. And I suppose they had time, didn't they?
Well, I suppose it'd be different in those sort of days, yeah. Just walking alongside one of the trenches here, we just veered off the main track.
Yeah, there's a stream track. Caine Struan, I was calling it. It's the one, as I say, it's right alongside the track and it just follows down and it's... I was out here one day and I saw a big fin of a fish. I don't know what the fish was, whether somebody had put one in out of an aquarium or what, but I had a witness with me as well. It was quite a big fin on its back, so I don't know what it was. It just caught a glimpse of this fin and then it disappeared. We both saw it too.
Yes, you don't expect to see fish around here, I suppose.
No. I have years ago with the kids come down with a net caught like a little stickleback type or whatever. I don't know what it was. I never really, never thought to kind of check. I just got it and put it in the jar and the kids were looking at it and playing with it and I let it go again. So, and I thought afterwards I should have tried to take some, dimensions.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's always good to have these thoughts afterwards. Just underneath some ivy there.
Yeah. It's
a bit further.
Assume it's a stickleback or a minnow,
Yes, chances are.
Yeah.
And here we are, very small. Little walkway across a tributary coming off. A couple of planks there, up there.
Just occasionally walking along the stream track you see a dead wallaby and the wallabies are out here and they might come along and they get caught in the river and they can't get out and probably like everything else eventually they get kind of stranded.
Yeah.
And
water soaked.
And next thing that they'll perish and you'll find the carcass.
A bit sad really, isn't it? It's one, I suppose they do live and die down here, but...
There's one there.
Good Lord.
To speak of the devil.
Now, how about that for timing? Incredible, isn't it? Sad to see one dead, rather alive, but as John says, he's...
It's been there a while. I wouldn't like to poke it, it might...
no, I don't think it'd be a very
smell,
good idea.
But as I say, sometimes they get in and like the distance across there, what's that? 7-8 foot.
Yeah.
It's just one leap. You can see marks there where they've been kind of taken off and landing. So just one leap. But if they make a mistake and just get caught in, maybe scrambling out is difficult. Maybe they've got a problem in the first place. I don't know.
Yes, could quite often be either getting old or getting weaker or such like, and can't quite make it. But I'm afraid this poor chap won't be hopping any further. He's just the remains. Yes, been in for a good few weeks, but it looks a bit. We can still see the body there in the water.
That was, just talking about an old one there. But,
that was perfect timing. And he swears he didn't put him there earlier on.
No, I didn't. Been there too long.
Yes, he's right. Crossing with these little plank bridges you find dotted around the Curraugh, just over a little tributary, so you don't have to jump or get your feet wet.
There's unusual things out here. I don't know whether you can see there's a rectangle there. That rectangle is probably about 4 foot wide and about 8 to 10 foot long, and it's very deep. Now, why and who did it? there might be an easy explanation, but somebody has actually dug out a rectangle there.
Yes, it's quite clearly defined.
You can see it clearly defined, and I know for a fact I've used sticks, and it's deep. You wouldn't like to stand in it. So whether it was done for a purpose many years ago to dig turf or just do but I've never found anybody that knows why it was actually
done.
dug.
And your best bet? Best guess, I suppose I should say.
Best guess? Well, you see, it's full of water at the minute. Maybe in the summer where it's dry, you'll be able to dig down quite a way. And I don't know, maybe it was archaeologists dug down, or maybe somebody digging a bit of turf. But the trees all round, it'd be difficult to dig through the tree roots as well. So
yeah, it wouldn't be easy.
And there's more than one, so it's just another thing about the Curraugh that's interesting, and it's we don't know half what went on years ago. It would be lovely to have somebody come back and I'll do a Ouija board or something and find out.
Get in contact.
Yeah. And you see there's a big birch tree come down there. And see the roots, because it's only a skin on the top and down below it's probably only mush. The roots go out flat like a pancake, and when it comes up you've got like a big circle of the roots that are all flat, nothing going down. Like you see drawings of a tree, and a tree that goes up, in some of the trees you get the same shape going down to support it, but obviously out here it's pointless doing that, so all the root system is just a big flat kind of pancake.
Yes, you can see they're spread wide, aren't they?
That's quite a big birch tree that's come down, probably a big age on it, and that's been blown over, and I wouldn't like to stand where it's come from, because all the vegetation is probably dead and you'd probably go straight down through.
Chances are.
Yeah.
Well, we won't try that then. We'll just follow this track along, following by the gully here again, and hope we don't bump into any more dead wallabies. Nice to see a live one. Well, I suppose they've got to die. Haven't we all? Just branching off right, and here we go. What's
a slab or two here alongside a bit of a hedge? You see, there's some there. This one here with a latch for a hook to go into.
It is, isn't it? Like an old iron ring set into the slate.
So what these are here for? Alongside us is a bridge. Where we can come over a bridge there. But I'll show you a little bit later on, a bit further up the stream there, only about 20 foot away or so, is another bridge. Why have two big slate bridges, which are probably awkward to create? Think of the slabs, you've got to get them here. Why have two bridges 20 feet apart from each other?
Yeah, a lot of work for no apparent reason.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of things out here that you don't know why or wherefore. We're just on what is, I would say, a roadway now, and we'll follow this roadway. Some of the biggest birch trees out here are on this roadway, and I'll take you to show you this big slate slab. Pity we haven't got television.
Yeah. Yes, Manx television. Ooh, we're not going to go there.
Here's this slab I was talking about.
Right, it's just in front of us. Oh gosh, yes. And look at this.
Yeah. It's a good 7 foot high.
Oh yeah, it must be. It's coming up above John there.
And the gudgeon is more or less more or less my height of my face. It's not very big. There's a J.
Oh, here we go, just below this. Yeah, just
J.
below chest height, more or less.
L.
JL.
C.
Yeah, you can see that all been scratched into the surface.
1, 9, 2, and I think 1. Might be a 7.
Yeah, looks like a 1, doesn't it? No, I go with you. I go with 1.
So it's JLC 19. So that's graffiti from 1921.
It's disgraceful.
Yes. Yeah. And I think his name was John Leslie Cashin. There was a fella, I've heard of a name mentioned of somebody who lived out in the Curraugh. But as you can see alongside, there are slabs that have fell over that must have been in an upright position, a bit like a gate pillar, but in a line. And they're going out about 8 to 10 foot on that side. And then we've got another big slab this side with a hole in for the bolt for the
look at
gate.
that. So you're going across, and this is, yes, a hole there.
Yeah.
Again, same sort of height and thicker than your finger.
And then another line of slabs going out, not so far this time, but you got the roadway here, and you've got a huge gate here blocking the way, and going back to what I said before, they were intact. Well, maybe whoever owned this area, this was his area, and he wanted people to keep out. I'm making a lot of supposition on what I'm saying, but obviously with the gudgeon that high, the rest of the gate must be getting up nearly to the top of that, so the top of the gate must be a good 7 foot high. And if the slabs standing up alongside are only 4 or 5 foot, you're not keeping giraffes.
Yeah.
You understand me? You don't need a gate that high to keep the giraffes in if you've only got 4 or 5 foot long side, because they can step over it. So if you understand me, it must have been a statement. Well, we're starting to walk back down the track, and there's another slate bridge just coming up on our right, and again another slate gate pillar, which is these things were discovered by me completely by accident in some cases, because they were covered in ivy. And this one and the other tall one we looked at, I happened to spot the gudgeon showing through the ivy, and wondered what the gudgeon was doing. And anyway, I stripped it off, and I found, see this one, it's nowhere near as high.
This is the beauty, it's lower, but it's much broader, isn't it?
It's much broader, and there's a big gudgeon in there, you see. And we've just walked over a slate bridge, another one across from here, but that's that I took the ivy off that and it fell apart. The remains of it are on the floor there. But this is a sonker, as we say, and it's a wonderful, and it's still fairly true as well.
Yep. Yes, it's beautiful.
Again, we're seeing probably a good 5. If you cleared this away, probably best part of 6 foot of it. So there must be another 5 foot down in.
Going down into the ground.
Yeah.
But very solid and, like I say, substantial, this one. So you can see the layers across the top there, and a good 2 inches thick, and 2.5 feet wide.
Yeah.
It is a beauty, that, with this gudgeon on the side there, which is still very solid.
They would be leaded in.
I was just thinking how enough they fixed in, because it's still very solid in its mountings there.
They'd put that in. The hole, obviously, they'd be probably done by, would be done by hand. They would hammer and chisel, and then they'd put that in. Some of them you'll find there's a nut on the back. Well, that has a nut on the back. There's a nut on the back of that one. Some have got a nut on the back, but you can just make out the lead. They also
you can
heat lead up and pour lead in alongside, and the lead, a bit like fill and fix foam we use today. The lead would run in and fill all the spaces up, and then go solid and hold it solid. Fantastic. There's not one down the bottom, but what they sometimes would do would have a stone on the ground with a cup hole in it, and you'd have a pin in the cup mark for it to pivot on and spin, and then this would be for the top.
Marvellous.
A lot of gates you see today with a top and a bottom gudgeon, but a big stone with a hole in for a pin would be worked just as well, and that would take a lot of the weight as well.
Yeah, surely.
Better than the gudgeons.
You can hear the snow underfoot. You can see a few more prints in the snow here and there as well.
Big track mark over there, well worn.
It is, isn't it? Look at that.
Up over the hedge.
This is a favourite route, obviously. There's a little mark down here as well. I don't know whether these ones down here.
Yeah.
Are these going to be wallaby marks again?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Not quite as big as the other ones, so maybe a bit smaller.
You can see the prints coming down here now.
I think we're only seeing the
front paw prints, aren't they?
Front paw, and you know why? He's running. When they're just walking, all you see is the flat of like 8 inches of flat, including the claws. But when he's running, he's on his front part of his paws, so he's come along here running. Well, they don't run, do they? Hopping. Hopping is a better description.
I wonder how they cope with the snow. You don't think of wallabies being able to sort of survive in freezing conditions.
We've had worse winters than this. They've seemed to have survived.
Marvellous. Always a good walk around here, and always nice to have a walk with John at any time of the year. He's never never ceases to come up with some interesting new facts for you. So we'll just say thanks very much to him today for a glorious walk, and no doubt we'll see you again.
Shade of 8, you're welcome.
And that was the last in the current series of A Walk With. I do hope you've enjoyed them. If you have any thoughts or walks you'd like to see done, drop me a line, howardcaine@manxradio.com, or write to me, care of A Walk With, at Manx Radio, Broadcasting House on Douglas Head in the Isle of Man, IM 99 1SW. Cheerio.